Cause we not even through with this yet. Cause we finna get to the part where they tell you where the Giants win this thing at. Y'all hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe. It's your boy B.A. Wiggler, aka the Metal Ninja Mutant, man. They call me Wiggly in these game spaces. Y'all can refer to me as Mike like my moms do. Part 1 of this thing here, which don't have part 2 at the front of it. Part 1 of this thing here is talking about how we're fighting in the cosmos of Ymir himself, the god, the giant, the hermaphroditic giant god himself, Ymir. We are fighting in the body of Ymir in the God of War series. Think about how groundbreaking that is when it comes to fighting with the giants on this game, family. Now I'm finna show you something where it talks about the giants end up winning. So hit the like, hit the share, hit the follow. Check this out. The giants par excellence. Thematically, Ymir is the personification. Shout out to northmythology.org for this information right here. I was, like I said on the first one, I was digging in some information on a Saturday afternoon, just chilling, putting it down, and I came across this info right here, and I had to come and share it with y'all because I was like, somebody else need to hear this. I need to put this in the body of the internet so that somebody can hear it. So let me see something real quick before I go on with it. No, just a second. Yeah, there we go. All right, check this out. Check this out. Ymir is the personification of the chaos before creation, which is also depicted as the impersonal void of Yinengyapop. Both Ymir and Yinengyapop are ways of talking about limitless potential that isn't actualized, that hasn't yet become the particular things that we find in the world around us. This is why the Vikings describe that as the void, the same void that you have in the Bible. You see what I'm saying? The same void that you have in the Bible. Hold on just a second. Guys, look. My bad. Guys, this is about connecting the information. This is about connecting the information. Let's go back to that. This is about connecting the information. Thematically, Ymir is the personification of the chaos before creation. Like I told y'all in the last stream, the chaos blades are what Kratos' blades are named. This is the perfect setting to put Kratos in, which is also depicted as the impersonal void of Yinengyapop. Both Ymir and Yinengyapop are ways of talking about limitless potential. Same thing on Earth here. Limitless potential, that energy in the air that isn't actualized, which is the space and the matter around us that you can create and mold to shape your own being in your own universe. The more you think on something, and the more you touch, and the more you involve with something, the more you can create that thing into the being that you want, the life that you want. Both Ymir and Yinengyapop are ways of talking about limitless potential that isn't actualized, that hasn't yet become the particular things that we find in the world around us. This is why the Vikings describe that as the void. Thoughts come from the void. As countless other peoples consider the darkness upon the face of the deep of the first chapter of Genesis, for example. It is no thingness, but nevertheless contains the basic stuff out of which gods can make things true. In this case, the primal matter is Ymir's body, which the gods tore apart to craft the elements. So right there, that lets you know, bro, we are fighting in the body of Ymir in the new God of War games, bro. That's a giant of itself, the hermaphroditic giant himself that we are fighting in right now. Do you understand how cold that is? It's extremely fitting for Ymir to be the progenitor of the giants, for this is the general role the giants occupy in Norse myth. They are the forces of formless chaos who are always threatening to corrupt and ultimately overturn the gods' created order. And at Ragnarok, they succeed. And I think that's why right there, for people who haven't known, because to millions of people in the world that know the stories of Norse mythology, they probably already know that the giants succeeded at Ragnarok. But for those of us that don't know, I'm here to tell you that, yo, this is real. Now, let me also tell you this part that they not telling you, how this makes sense, all the more relevant sense for what Santa Monica already did. You remember God of War 2? God of War 1, you was what? First off, interfacing with some of the gods, right? God of War 2, you start fighting the opposite. You start fighting their antagonists, the giants. The Titans. The Titans were massive in comparison to the gods. So here it is, the name then got so much more power. The game then got so much more power that they can now wait until they get to the second iteration, call it Ragnarok, because and it's so much powerful because they got two they dealing with now: God of War Kratos and Atreus. They waited till they got to Ragnarok to tell you, no. I don't even think we're gonna be dealing with a lot of giants in this game other than Tyr. We seen Tyr already. We seen Tyr, right? Chat, we seen Tyr. Other than that, well, Freya, she's a Vanir god. Is she a giant? I think she was born of giant blood. Then we got Loki, the forces of formless chaos who are always threatening to corrupt and ultimately overturn the gods' created order. So the giants maintain a general role They are formless. They are forces of formless chaos who are always threatening to corrupt and ultimately overturn the gods' created order. So the giants are the ones who trying to start up some mess. And then at Ragnarok, they gonna succeed with destroying the earth and talking about, this don't seem pleasant at all. So that means and in the Vanir are against the Aesir, that means that we might not get to holler at Vili and Vivi until the third or the fourth game of God of War. Do you see how many roads this thing can go down, man? Am I the only person that see this? Characteristically, the gods convert important natural resources, which the giants own, then steal them and turn them to their own advantage by utilizing them to create culture. That is, they put the giants' raw material to work for themselves. These raw materials are of diverse kinds and include intellectual capital, such as the ability to brew ale, as well as the cauldron in which it is made, and abstractions made concrete like the mead of poetry and the runes of wisdom. Not only does Ymir fit this pattern, mythologically speaking, his death and dismemberment is the paradigmatic model for this pattern. Nigga. We're going to be fighting inside of Ymir. This is the deep dive of intellectualism of gaming channel right here, man. Like, seriously, because I be thinking about where we going to go next with this. You know what I'm saying? Where are we going next with this? Because I never seen them taking the Norse mytho god turn in this story. But they did. And so now I'm here to sit on this seat and I'm trying to learn a little bit about these gods over here. And I'm going to tell you, Jormungandr, Hel, and Fenrir being all brothers and sisters of Loki, which is Kratos' child, making Kratos a Norse myth grandfather. Do you see what I just did right there? Jormungand, Fenrir, and Hel, brothers and sisters. Fenrir and Jormungand, brother of Hel. Hel is their sister. Loki was their mama. Low-key was their daddy, which is Kratos' son in this storyline. Kratos' son, making Kratos a Greek god, the grandfather of three of the most well-known gods of Norse myth. A 100 to 150 year transition between, which means Kratos is old. This also explains why Ymir is depicted as a hermaphroditic who can reproduce at his own asexuality. Differentiation, including sexual differentiation, didn't exist yet. The gods had to create that as a part of their task of giving differentiated forms of what had previously been formless and undifferentiated. Various other creation myths from other peoples have used the hermaphroditic being to illustrate this concept. So we can be confident that this is also what the Norse meant here, despite the superficial counterexample of Athumla and her under. After all, Norse mythology was never an airtight system. Ymir's name provided an additional and rather poetic instantiation of this role as a personification of primordial chaos. Ymir's name provided an additional and rather poetic instantation of this role as a personification of primordial chaos, the progenitor of this chaos, man. Recall that Ymir names means screamer from the Old Norse verb ymja, to scream. The scream, the wordless voice, is the raw material from which words are made. By taking formless matter represented by Ymir's body and giving it form, the gods were metaphorically speaking words out of a scream, making words out of a scream. I just told y'all that. Making life, making formation, making land, making beings out of a scream. Everything was spoken into being. My life was spoken into being. This was spoken into being. The channel is spoken into being. Y'all need to be here because we're going to figure out a way we can stream God of War on this goddamn channel here. We gonna stream God of War, Ragnarok, on this channel right here because we fighting in the body of Ymir. We fighting in the body of Ymir. Do y'all know what that means? Anything could potentially happen here. Anything could potentially happen. And then low key, Atreus is running around here communicating with the planet. Y'all don't understand the story of what this shit is talking about in real life. The metaphor is completed by the description of the act of creation in the Old Norse poem Voluspa. There, the verb used for the action by which the gods create the world is yipa. 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 Which has a range of meanings. Lift, raise, bring up, come into being, proclaim, reveal. All life-giving essences, man. All life-giving power. Cat's gonna try and tell me some games is wrecking people's mind. Now, games is turning us on to more a deeper connection and seed stem intellect, rooted intellect to connect with each other, man. That's what this is doing. What are you talking about? Yippa. Yippee. Yippa. Yippee. Excitement about life that is just coming to being. Coming to lift, raise, bring up, come into being, proclaim, reveal. Don't we get all that from earth? Don't we get all that from this place if we just so think on that and move in that direction? We can use the life form Ymir to better benefit us. But what would this being do in the world of Kratos? That's what I'm asking. Shit's crazy. The primary sense in which Yippa should be understood here is to come into being, but note the additional shade of to proclaim. Given the poetic symmetry with Ymir's name, this is surely not coincidental. The gods proclaim the world into being as they sculpt it out of the screamer's corpse. Fam. I don't know what to tell you, but the new God of War that's coming out, Ragnarok, and we just found out right here that it's extremely fitting for Ymir to be the progenitor of the giants, for this is the general role the giants occupy in Norse myth. They are the forces of formless chaos who are always threatening to corrupt and ultimately overturn the gods' created order. And at Ragnarok, they succeed. Put that on to God of War 2 and see how that makes sense to us being able to transition from fighting first the Aesir gods and the Vanir gods here, and now we transition over to fighting the giants because we already got a taste of Aesir and Vanir in the first one. Ragnarok about to happen, the giants is about to win, which leaves way for Santa Monica to make more iterations and more innovativeness into a third video game of God of War. We gonna be transitioning over to fighting the dog on giants, my nigga. And that comes with a few, a hell of a lot of goddamn opponents. Even Loki's children. Has Kratos not killed his own people? He's killed 4 of his uncles and his father. And many more. He slaughtered his own family. I don't want Atreus to go that same path. But the way he acted when he found out he was a god in that game, 2018 God of War, I don't know. He might fall off and go back to being evil or something like that. He might fall off and go evil and be a deceptive, like Loki. It's so many ways we can go in this game, man. And then 2,500 years later, Kratos might live and fight the Egyptian gods. Man, please stop. I'm done with this shit, man. I'm done. That's right when I get a message.